Thank you, Polly. I will be interested to see whether that flight to Kigali takes off with any actual asylum seeker on it tomorrow. The Western world is bifurcating into two groups of people. On the one hand, a law-abiding person, such as, in all probability, your good self. And chaps, fellows like you are now micro-regulated in every aspect of life, whether you're permitted to visit your Auntie Mabel in hospital, whether you can board a flight to go lie on a beach in Spain or visit Cousin Wilf in Brisbane. Oh, don't worry, there's still freedom of movement for an entirely different group of people, a second group of people, free just to wash up on England's southern shore whenever they want. Nobody asks for their passports, their vaccine passports, their proof of a negative test. We're being warned about a lethal new variant right now. It's coming any day. It'll be making landfall any moment now. Scary. We may have to lock down all over again. But the public health emergency without end only applies to you, not to those using the Royal Navy's new express check-in in the English Channel. So we have two groups, to one of which the ever-multiplying and conflicting rules and micro-regulations simply don't apply. Here, for example, is a mob chasing dozens of policemen out of Peckham in London because the coppers had shown up to enforce a deportation order, and the poor fella's neighbours didn't care for that deportation order.
Back to Peckham!
Don't come back to Peckham, don't come back to Peckham. Dozens and dozens of policemen chased out of Peckham by a conga line chant. The useless plods had actually succeeded in arresting the scheduled deportee, but when the mob surrounded their van, they decided to de-arrest him and release him to the seething hordes of Peckham. As you know, in Britain, everything is policed except crime, so this is the same Metropolitan Police that just a year or two back were ordering home grannies who'd committed the crime of lingering too long on park benches during their government-permitted outdoor exercise period, or they were harassing latte aficionados who had gone to their favourite Costa half a mile away rather than the one round the corner. That the British police can do. But no matter how many hundreds of men they dispatch, they cannot enforce an immigration order. On the other hand, the West Yorkshire Police, the same constabulary that turned a blind eye to serial gang rape of girls in Rotherham for decades, the West Yorkshire Police managed successfully to arrest a candidate in the Wakefield by-election for, quote, racism, and then released him without charge 12 hours later, having successfully scuttled his day's campaigning. The candidate, Paul Golding, of the Britain First Party, is a bit strong meat for a lot of people, but it's not a good sign when the police get to decide which lawful candidates are permitted to meet the citizenry and which aren't. Next time the coppers may decide to shut down your candidate. John O'Sullivan, who'll be on our show tomorrow, made a sharp point here a couple of months back when he observed that the mob, the revolutionary activists on the street, are only feted and celebrated when they act as shock troops for the establishment. The establishment is in favour of open borders. The Prince of Wales is. The House of Lords are. Ben and Jerry's are. So when the revolutionaries prevent immigration enforcement, hooray, good for them. Likewise, they're okay with this scene, a scene from Sheffield, a mob intimidating and bullying a cinema manager into cancelling the film screening. And eventually he surrenders.
Manager of this cinema are confirming that we've cancelled this film and will not be showing it again.
Listen!
We value you all as our customers. We're in the heart of this community. At a local level, it wasn't our decision to show this film. It came from above. We totally agree with what you're saying.
Thank you, sir.
We are not prepared at this cinema to show this film.
That's a film called The Lady of Heaven. which is a picture made by Shia Muslims about Fatima, whom they believe is the only biological daughter of Muhammad, and Sunni Muslims believe something else. So we now have Sunni-Shia doctrinal disputes on the streets of Britain. Gotta love that multiculti vibrancy, right? So you can't see the Lady of Heaven in Sheffield, nor can you see it in Bradford, which has just been named the United Kingdom's City of Culture. It's certainly extremely cultural. 70% of men under 40 in Bradford are practicing film critics. You can tell they're film critics because they have full beards and shout Allahu Akbar, which is Arabic for nothing to see here. So much for Yorkshire. How about the Midlands?
Birmingham will not tolerate the disrespect of our Prophet, peace be upon him, and there will be outcomes from your actions. You will have repercussions for your actions. We have been trained from birth that we must defend the honor of our Prophet, and we will lay our life on the line.
Man, that is some trenchant movie criticism right there. That's tougher than Barry Norman was on Dude, Where's My Car 7 back on Film 93. Let me know your take. GBviews at gbnews.uk.